Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about NBA Jam Tournament Edition for the Sega Saturn. And this is more fun than anything here, but there's a couple of playable characters that have been arguably recently discovered. One of those is Tim Kitzrow, who is the announcer, the voice behind Boom Shakalaka. The second character is simply known as Fox. To select those characters, enter KIT in the character name section with a birthday of June 8th. And Fox, you enter FOX and a birthday of August 3rd. You have to hold down L and R while you're entering all of that information. Next up here, we're talking about Google, specifically YouTube, and it appears that YouTube does not like you blocking ads. YouTube seems to have made some changes in the background that have broken a lot of ad blockers like uBlock Origin. Now there are some ways to get uBlock Origin up and running again, and I might link something in the description below. And the last I heard, programs like Ryujinx are still working fine. Next up here, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation, and we'll start out with Ryujinx. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder just released, and it turns out Ryujinx can absolutely run it at 4K plus with no updates required. Obviously, this is a huge hat tip to the Ryujinx development team who keep crushing it. It's an amazing accomplishment. And moving on from there, we're still talking about Nintendo Switch emulation and switching over to Ryujinx. And Ryujinx has just released their monthly report. Now I'm just going over some of the items in this report at a high level. If you wanted to check it out in detail, which I do recommend doing, I'll drop a link in the description below. One of the big things this month was the implementation of the Mii applet. You can edit your Mii, and it's all thanks to some reverse engineering from German 77. So if you wanted to check this one out yourself, you absolutely can. Go to Tools and open Mii Editor. Now on top of that, Yuzu also received some performance improvements, and a bunch of games got a whole bunch of fixes, including Mortal Kombat. On top of that, there's a new option to let you verify the integrity of your game dumps. And if you're using Yuzu on Android, there are a whole bunch of improvements here, including one that hopefully uses less memory. And lastly here on Android, Project Nice, also known as NCE, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Native Code Execution, is making progress. Once this is implemented, it's really going to change up Yuzu on Android. Now we've talked about this one in previous videos, and you will have to be patient. It just started booting its first games. It's going to be a while. Massive hat tip to the developers of Yuzu for making some awesome progress. Next up here, we're talking about WinRAR, and if for some reason you're still using WinRAR, probably not paying for it, I don't recommend using an outdated version. Make sure it's up to date. There's a massive security exploit, and a lot of people are still using outdated versions of WinRAR, which puts them at massive security risks. In the event that you haven't updated in a while, you may want to make sure it's updated. Alternatively, you can check out something free and open source, like 7-Zip. Next up here, we're talking about Hydra, a brand new multi-system emulator for Android that is currently in early stages of development. This is probably something you want to pay attention to. Unfortunately, it's not ready for use just yet, but fortunately, some sister projects include Shad PS4 and also Panda 3DS. And if you take a look at some of the screenshots on GitHub, you can see N64 and 3DS. As soon as I know more about it, you'll know more. And last up here, we're talking about Lutris, a free and open source game manager for Linux, and it just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 0.5.14 is the latest update, and I would argue this one's pretty big. They've added in user-defined categories and tags. They've added in EA app integration, and they've added in a Steam account switcher if you've got multiple Steam accounts. Lutris is 100% free, it's open source, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. If you haven't guessed, I might be on vacation and we might be having some videos in some fun locations. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.